that you are searching for the station to give you joy, laughter, and happiness. I had a rumor that the station you're searching for is right here. I mean, here. 98.3 Mainland FM. The sound of Lagos.
All right, it's time for Political Roundtable on Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Saheed Fuhad, the show where we look at politics and, of course, look at the major issues happening in our political space in Nigeria. And, of course, this evening we have three major issues. Tomorrow is Democracy Day, 30 years since the annulment of what is considered to be the most the freest and fairest election in Nigeria. Yes, exactly 30 years, just like yesterday. Like they always say, see how time flies. Tomorrow will be Democracy Day, June 12, 1993. That very, very important election in the life of Nigeria was annulled by the military junta led by IBB himself, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. And of course, we'll be looking at that particular event, doing what I call a reflection of what has happened since then, what has happened in our democracy, what has happened in terms of governance. And we'll be asking ourselves in the show this evening, how well have we honored the memories of the late MKO Abiola, who is still considered to be the biggest hero of democracy as far as Nigeria is concerned. Of course, we're going to be looking at the events of 1993, the June 12, 1993 election. We're going to be speaking with Chief Ayo Padokun, who is a prominent Aoist, a major player during the June 12 elections and after the June 12 election annulment. He's a lawyer, an elder statesman, and the chieftain of the defunct National Democratic Coalition, NADECO. He's also an advocate of true federalism. We'll speak with him this evening to get his thoughts on what has happened since 30 years when that election was annulled by the military junta. What has happened? What have we been able to achieve? What have we done as a country to really honor the memory of the late MKO Abiola, who laid his life to ensure that democracy is sustained in Nigeria? We're going to get him on the phone line to just share his thoughts with us, a reflection on what has happened 30 years after the annulment of that particular election. That's not the only issue we have on the agenda this evening. We also have the 10th National Assembly. On Tuesday, they will be inaugurated. The politics is on. It's very tough. It's looking like it's going to be a 3-horse race or a 2-horse race. Whatever happens, we're going to have principal officers elected for the 10th National Assembly. But before going into the major issues this evening, we have Chief Ayo Okpadokun on the line with us. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening.
All right, my name is Saheed Fuhad, and this is Political Roundtable on Mainland 98.3 FM. I have here with me in the studio Joseph Folorenshaw. We have Nuruddin Adegbero also with us in the studio. And we're going to be looking at 30 years after the annulment of what is considered to be the freest and fairest election ever held in Nigeria. And basically what we are asking ourselves this evening, Chief, is that, look, what have we done as a country? And how well have we honored the memories of the late MKO Abiola, who, of course, laid his life down to ensure that democracy is entrenched in Nigeria? I'm going to start with you, Chief. What are you reflecting on? It will be 30 years now that event happened. See how time flies out. What do you think?
Well, I feel saddened that the people who eventually took over governance after our own painful, titanic democratic campaign and struggle to send the military back to the barracks. The military juggernauts, both serving and retired, conspired to ensure that we never had democracy. They posted on Nigeria one of the former commanders-in-chief in the person of the General Obasanjo. Obasanjo never promoted He never popularized democracy or democratization. He never did anything to enhance the quality of public policy that will endanger justice, equity, and the rule of law. Two times you will remember, three times you will remember that extra legally he removed state governors, Alamesia of Bayelsa, the Dalie of Plateau, and Ayopayoshe of Ekiti. Extra legal. He will just pick up a minority, small group of legislators, camp them somewhere, and then make them to say they are impeached the governors, and then his security gurus will already be around wherever the sitting governor was. Then they will be arrested. So, and because he thought the time agenda failed, he posted upon us somebody whom he knew that was not in front edge. And that eventually led to a situation where the man passed on, and Dr. Jonathan never had any constituency for a political constituency. Couldn't do anything until he was shoved aside. And the man who benefited from that shoving aside by a disputed group of ACN, a faction of PDP, CPC, and the likes, is another former military commander-in-chief named General Muhammadu Buhari. So they never done anything to promote, to expand, to consolidate democracy, democratization, and its features. So we are not better off than what we were when we were in power. And I feel sorry for Nigeria because we thought that after our standing stop, where many of us lost our sweat, lost our blood, lost our profession, were paid, lost our freedom, some people are exiled and some people are martyred. We thought that those who will take over, we have the public spirit to enunciate policies that particularly on the economic and social political affairs, that we improve, enhance the quality of lives of our people. But that was not what we have abandoned far. Contrary-wise, Nigeria remains an underdeveloped country. So, clearly, this is the first time President Tinubu's government that are just coming is the first time that a real civilian who was part of us in the trenches are taking over power, and much is being expected of him because this is where we started.
All right, Chief. I was going to get to that. That look, you gave a bit of a historical background of what has happened since the annulment of that election. A new democratic experiment that, of course, brought in Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, who you think was just a military person that the military hierarchy wanted in power at that time. And the fact that, look, General Muhammadu Buhari or President Muhammadu Buhari who just handed over power to President Bola Tinubu was also a military man. And, of course, the history is there that he was the one that eventually declared June 12th as Democracy Day, which never happened under Chief Olusegun Obasanjo when he was president. But now we have an active player during the June 12th era, someone who also stood for democracy, who stood for June 12th, very active to the post-conversation issues of June 12th in the person of President Bola Tinubu now. He also said he's one of you. Now, I want you to set an agenda for him. Because, again, the reason we are reflecting on this is to say, look, what have we really done to honor the memories of the late Chief MKO Abiola? Not in terms of naming streets, naming public places after him. No, I'm talking in terms of governance. Chief, I want you to set an agenda for the new president that you think would properly honor the memories of the late MKO Abiola and the June 12 struggle.
Okay, thank you very much. Already, if you saw the congratulatory letter that he wrote to President last week,
Hmm.
We already set that agenda. That as part of us in the trenches, you need that we had two objectives in the establishment of National Democratic Coalition at DECO. One was to annul the victory of MKO Abiola that Babangida did to restore him to office. Two was to convoke a sovereign national conference to discuss and resolve once and for all the national question that borders on equity, justice, fair play, and the consolidation and promotion of the rule of law. And then that we insisted that the current national structure is what is good and it's unsustainable. Therefore, we set the agenda that President Bola Tinubu has an abiding duty to reflect on what we struggle for. That is, we wanted a return to federal constitutional governance. Thank God, it's all part sometime in 2017 set up the Governor Nasir El-Rufai committee on their promises, on their manifesto, because their manifesto contained that if they were voted into office, they will return Nigeria to federal constitutional governance. And that committee recommended that. So we are asking President Tinubu to start taking up active, immediate, deliberate, concrete steps towards the realization of that. Because that's the most important thing. Nigeria is an heterogeneous country with over 400 different ethnic languages. There are different culture, traditions, customs, religions, artifacts, folklore, mores, morals, and the like. And those things are guaranteed to continue to exist for the different people in their different areas of existence. But all of us will meet at the center. The military, uninvitedly, illegally, reasonably, overthrew the legitimate negotiated constitution, supplanted it, and then replaced it with different kinds of decrees that militarize governance in Nigeria, so that power is concentrated in the hands of the commander-in-chief, for whom all powers flow, and that they encourage injustice, unfair play, inequity, disregard, and total contemptuous attitude to the oppression of the rule of law in Nigeria. So we have set an agenda for him.
Okay, Chief Ayopadokun, again in my intro, I said that you are a major advocate for true federalism, and I think in setting agenda for the new president, I think all of the major issues still border around true federalism. The first was that, look, he had to annul the June 12, 1993 election, so that, it becomes the fact that, look, he actually won that election. That's the first agenda. And then that, look, he needs to convoke a sovereign national conference to discuss the issue of unity of Nigeria, the issue of equity, and the issue of rule of law. And then, of course, put a national structure in place to discuss the issue of true federalism, so that we can operate as a federal system of government the way it should be operated. I think a brilliant agenda, I must say. But, Chief, on a last note this evening, I want you to talk to Nigerians who will be celebrating the memories of the late Chief MKO Abiola tomorrow. And, of course, that election, considered the freest and fairest ever in Nigeria, June 12. What is your message to Nigerians who have endured what we can call not too successfully democratic experiment from 1999 till date? We have renewed hope on the table now. What's your message of hope to Nigerians as we continue to work to deepen our democracy?
My message to Nigeria is that no one should be an onlooker. Nigeria should recognize themselves as the masters of the people who have elected. They should prevail on the new government to start taking measures to return Nigeria to federal constitutional governance. That's the most important thing they needed to do. Whatever socio-economic and political things that the government can execute, they will not be sufficient to respond to the basic question. Look, Nigeria has been an underdeveloping country. And we have failed the black world that look up to us to provide leadership. And the biggest black nation in the world. We have been a giant with a feet of clay. So what we need to do, my advice to Nigeria, is not to continue to wallow in the search for bread and butter. They should take up and stand up to whoever is in governance and tell them to return Nigeria to a federal constitutional governance. We never voted for unity government. We never voted for this kind of command structure governance that we are going through now. It was imposed on us by the military politicians, military uniform, who captured Nigeria on January 15, and have been holding us by the black state.
All right, Chief, thank you so much for finding time to join us on the Political Roundtable Mainland 98.3 FM this evening. I must say that you really set a very big agenda for the new president. But some will say that, look, it shouldn't be difficult for him because he was also a strong advocate of true federalism in Nigeria. But, Chief, thank you so much.
In fact, let me tell you, he played a prominent role in the convocation of a People's Constitutional Conference called PRONACO, where almost all ethnic groups in Nigeria were present for over almost 2 years. He facilitated the convocation of that body, and we have a document, a draft constitution, that can really restore federal constitutional governance to Nigeria. We have given regard to all the atrocities that the military has committed and posted upon us. That constitution has taken care of all of them.
All right, Chief Ayo Padogun, thank you so much for finding time to join us, Mainland 90.3 FM this evening.
Can I say to you, I have never taken chieftaincy title from anybody.
Well, everybody calls you Chief.
I'm ordinary Ayo Padogun. I remain.
All right, that's fine, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
It's a pleasure.
God bless you, sir. All right.
And you too.
Well, I'm surprised that he's denouncing the chieftaincy title this evening. But again, I must say that, look, in setting an agenda for the new president, this is a very, very big one. And anybody that has followed the story of Nigeria, a democratic experiment, would understand where Chief Ayo Padogun is coming from. I like to call him Chief, even if he's not a title chief anywhere. He's an elder statesman. He's a prominent Awoist too. Yeah. So I understand his call for true federalism. He's also a lawyer, so he understands the legality of the issues he's talking about. He's an elder statesman and a chieftain of the defunct National Democratic Coalition, ADECO, and a strong advocate of true federalism. We're going to bring Abiola Yusuf to join the conversation pretty much soon, because again, we have a strong issue that we started last week that we're supposed to conclude this week, and that's the issue of subsidy removal. It's been 2 weeks now that announcement was made, and so we need to conclude on that particular issue. Where exactly are we headed? We've been seeing reactions and mixed reactions. The labor union, the TUC, are still talking with government, putting a lot of demands on the table. Other Nigerians are already feeling the heat, and neighboring countries are feeling it harder now. But the effect of a single policy is causing ripple effects across most of the West African countries as we speak. But again, we'll conclude on that particular issue. Abiola Yusuf will be joining us via the phone lines. But Joseph Olorunso, you listen to Chief Ayo Padogun again, because we are not looking at honoring the memory of the late Chief MKO Abiola. Okay, good evening, Abiola Yusuf.
Good evening, Nuruddin and my other co-discussant. It's a pleasure to be on the program this evening.
All right. Before bringing you onto the show, we were having a conversation with Chief Ayo Padokun, and we're just talking about what we need to do as a country to truly honor the memories of the late Chief MKO Abiola in terms of governance, and not in terms of naming a school or street or declaring a public holiday. Well, in a way, it honors his memory, but we're looking at governance, which indeed was what the late Chief MKO Abiola stood for. And I asked him that, look, he needs to set an agenda now that they have one of their own. He called him one of their own because a lot of people may not know President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was an integral member of the NADECO. He was also the post-election issues of the June 12, 1993 election. He was in the trenches with them. Chief Ayo Padokun said severally that, look, you were in the trenches with us. And he said that, look, in their congratulatory message, they have set an agenda for him, which was to return Nigeria to true federalism. All of the things he said about, the issue of equity, the rule of law, and that he needed to convocate a sovereign national conference again for Nigeria to discuss the issues of our diversity and our existence as a nation, and then return the country to true federalism. We're going to have this conversation, Adiola Yusuf, Nuruddin Adigbenro, Joseph Olorunso, but it would be nice to listen to the late MKO Abiola himself. We have some sound bites that can give us an insight into, one, what he planned to do if he had been declared winner of that elections, if the elections were not annulled, his campaign promises. It's a bit of a summary of what he had in mind if he was made president. And of course, when the election was annulled, he also made some statements which a lot of people thought landed him in trouble with the military junta. It will be nice to hear. This is June 12 celebration here, starting in earnest a day before the particular day. Let's listen to the late MKO Abiola, what he said as his campaign promises and what he said after that election was annulled. I don't like to just hang in, or let's just listen to the late MKO Abiola.
As president, it's none of my business what religious color anybody wears. In ITT, in Concord, in RCN, in Summit Oil, in the bakeries, in the bookshop, in the presses, and so we employ people purely on merit. Round pegs in round holes, period. There are so many people who work for me whose hometown I don't even know. I don't even know them anyway. I don't have to know them. Because we want to be objective. If I could do that in my own small business, I think Nigeria has every reason to expect from me a clear vision when it comes to the management of the affairs of the country as a whole. Quite obviously, we need to earn more foreign exchange. We shall therefore put in place policies that will broaden the foreign exchange earning capacity of the nation. We will pursue exports and local sourcing for industry. We shall aggressively pursue the implementation of the LNG project if the logjam on the gas project has not already been broken by this administration, by this current one. We shall maximize the nation's return from oil by turning over future investment to the private sector and by removing the complex structures which makes NMPC's accountability and assessment of efficiency almost impossible. You see, there are so many layers upon layers built on this simple thing, crude oil. I don't even know whether it's oil or some mystery around it that is taking the money from the central bank. You see, I think we would demystify all these things. In my government, the daily export of crude will be published and the price at which it is sold. You see, the issue of planned implementation is simple. You see, public things are not private. We have National Assembly now. They will do their job. They review the expenditure of government and will hold public hearing. We will no longer be hearing of monetary circulars from central bank without the bankers being told. The bankers will have to be involved. You see, like I said, every effort has been made in the past to shave people's head in their absence. It must stop. I mean, it won't be allowed. I mean, the cumulative wisdom of all the bankers would have seen us out of the problem we have in this country today. But some people, they come from IMF or they come from World Bank, what do they know about Nigeria? You see, the most brilliant doctor in Norway might not have seen malaria in his life. So bringing him here and imposing him as a medical director is like sending everybody to the grave. You see, all that nonsense will stop. I rely on Nigerians to keep Nigeria running efficiently, and that's what it is. You see, there will be a few foreigners who will be recommended by our people, not those who will be imposed by some foreign authorities over us. We are an independent republic under God, or aren't we?
All right, it's still Political Roundtable on Mainland 98.3 FM. And I'm sure Abiola is still with us via the phone line.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
And I'm sure
thanks so much for playing. And thanks so much for playing that audio.
That audio,
it is so powerful and
so relevant to what we are talking about today.
My Fuhad, thank you so much. I know a lot of when you open the call line, you see a lot of people saying.
You know what my producer just told me, that look, that campaign is as if it's a new campaign, so relevant to what we are facing as a country. And that was a campaign like 30 years ago about the situation of Nigeria.
In fact, he encapsulated almost every topic that we want to discuss today.
Today on the roundtable.
And that was 30 years ago. And by the time we start digging deep into that broadcast, you will see that broadcast was stamped by one of the foreign broadcaster as too revealing, talking too much before having the power. Too revealing. It talked about the opaque nature of operations of NNPC.
Let me just summarize it this way. I'm going to bring you Adiola Isunuruddin. I know we are all eager to jump on this. That particular statement from the late MKO just captures it all. He talked about employing round pegs in round holes, and which is a conversation for today.
Nigeria for Nigerians.
Nigeria for Nigerians. He talked about making more money, forex, talking about exportation and production, and firing up our industries and manufacturing sector. He talked about the LNG project. I'm sure you know so much about that, Adiola Yusuf. He talked about return from oil exploration, accountability at the NNPC, which is still a conversation that we are having till today. He talked about the publication. He said he will be publishing daily exports of crude as a way of guaranteeing accountability when it comes to our oil proceeds. He talked about the National Assembly doing their job, which is also a conversation for this evening, whether we are hoping for a vibrant and independent National Assembly or a rubber stamp National Assembly. He also talked about the CBN, the operations of the CBN shrouded in so much secrecy and mystery.
Intervention of
and then he talked about what the IMF and the World Bank coming to dictate how we should live our lives. And he gave a simple analogy that the best doctor in Sweden may not have seen malaria before in his life. So you bring him all the way from Sweden and make him the medical director. He's going to kill everybody. So we talked about domesticating our own policies, making Nigeria work for Nigerians. And he used a very strong statement. He said, look, all that nonsense has to stop. Adiola Yusuf, jump into this. What do you think? What do you think about democratic experiment from 1999 till date, and the honor of the late Chief MKO Abiola as we talk 30 years since the annulment of the June 12 election?
Oh, thank you very much, Fuhad. Before talking about, I think it's very, very important to look at, the core areas, just like you have done, of that broadcast. This was a presidential candidate at that moment that displayed adequate knowledge of the problem that Nigeria has. Clearly. And he did not showcase only knowing the problem. He displayed, proper understanding of the solutions. He put on the table the solutions he has for all these problems that we had. It's rather very unfortunate that we didn't have Nigeria. But the grace of all this is that when 30 years after that, when a new president, a presidential aspirant, now candidate, now president, started his journey, he renamed his own entire campaign into, a renewed hope. Remember that this document that was read in this broadcast, was Start Hope
93. Yeah.
Yes. So we now had Renew Hope 2023. So 30 years, we still have same problem, and now, made it clear that time that he had it in his mind to implement certain provisions or solutions made, by Chief MKO Abiola. And, we have started, seeing that trajectory. We have started seeing about, we only hope and desire that we're able to have it the way we're supposed to have it. Now, let's now look at, a few of those items that Chief MKO Abiola discussed in the broadcast that, he has played. Number one, the LNG project that the opaque nature of operations in NNPC. Fuhad, for close to 50 years, what NNPC what they export, what they import, the number of personnel working for NNPC, all those facts are not known.
They are still in secret. Nobody knows them.
A few of them have been known because we have to, state it clearly. Like the importation rate, the export rate, and all that are being published. We have to say it, the way it is. You can go to the NNPC website and see a few of, those facts.
Information.
But up to this ample moment that we are still talking, for what you cannot ask if you have the meeting with of NNPC, ask them what is the number of personnel that NNPC has. They will shed that question. I'm talking from experience.
Just number of personnel, as simple as that.
As simple as how many people
work for you,
collecting salary from you.
They can't answer.
As simple as what. So, although steps have been taken, to shed light into the dark nature of NNPC operation, we still have so many areas that this broadcast address that this present president needs to work very, very hard on. He has spoken about the healthcare. He has spoken about a lot of that things. Let's not what a lot of people that the foreign observers have just said that made that broadcast to look like talking too much of what you want to do when you do not have the power, and that is area that has to do with foreign intervention in Nigerians' economy, economic policy. He spoke about IMF. IMF is still and World Bank. Up till today, those two are still prognosing into what we do. They are ready to tell us that we should, a loan is ready, that we should come and collect that loan.
Value our naira.
Fuhad, when someone starts running after you to come and borrow money, you should be careful. And you tell that person, please let me manage the little I have. Say no,
you must collect this money.
By fire by force you must collect this money. You have to be wary of that situation. So that is still in operation. Thankful enough, the present president has been information or communication around that, because communication experts have said that the Chief MKO Abiola should also have been handed over the power
before saying all the things he was saying.
Before opening on a law. So remember his position on slavery, his position on colonization,
repatriation, and all of that.
Repatriation and all that. So his broadcast or his mission or his campaign is a total package. So, but thankful enough, we have someone that after 30 years, has told us that he identified with that struggle from the beginning. That person is in power now. It will be so good, to have some, if not all of those issues itemized or solutions itemized by late MKO Abiola, implemented by this government. And I know if that is done, it's going to be to the advantage of all Nigerians.
All right, Adiola, so Nuruddin, you listened to that campaign 30 years ago. And like I said, the producer just told me that, look, it was as if this is a new thing. It's so relevant to what we are facing today. That, look, whatever he said 30 years ago just speaks to our reality currently as a country. What do you make of the celebration of June 12th tomorrow and what we've done as a country to truly honor the memory of the late MKO Abiola in terms of governance?
You know why the issue of Abiola is always striking me? During my own master program, I look at the information management in the first, second, third, fourth republic, and the issue of June 12th is a chapter on its own. And there was a book, Man of the Match, that really put all his species together. I stand to be corrected. There is no civilian president in Nigeria that can speak more than how Chief MKO Abiola speak. I've never seen with
proverb and wisdom. Yeah.
So, and one thing there is this: in what he has just said, is much more is a problem. There are problems that we've not solved, and they are still germinating with a lot of big trees as of today. He talks about unity.
The unity of the country.
One of the major problems that the current president is going to work on is the issue of unity.
Unifying the country.
Because even his own party has added to the current problem with the issue of Muslim ticket. No matter what he does now, people are going to be counting it. They've already said he has George Akume as the secretary to the federal government. They say 2-1. 2 for Muslims, 1 for Christians.
Because of secretary.
Femi Gbajabiamila as chief of staff is a Muslim. 3-1.
So that people are already paying attention to
people
things
are already
like
paying attention to and it's a thing that there are some certain things you do that people will forget all these issues of division, especially good governance, fairness, objectivity, equity. So in that particular line, that is one of the, and that is what the best president we've ever had, that we will have had, Chief MKO Abiola. And that is the reason why he talks about that. Then the issue of NNPC, don't let us even go about that. When Abiola was talking about, there are some, the one they revealed to us that they export, they cannot tell us how much per day. Maybe you are asking of the one of the employee, the one every day, at least if you should be able to know daily import, daily export. Okay, let us know what is the number of barrel of per day. You know how they use gas bills and the rest.
We have that fact. That is published.
Okay.
It's being published. One thing is to be published. One thing is to be truthful.
I'll verify.
That is another thing. People can publish whatever they want to publish. So another thing again is the issue of good governance. Abiola speaks to the issue. Abiola is not a presidential candidate that was running away from journalists.
He was ready to talk.
He was ready to talk and put the matter. Abiola traveled around this particular country and he pulls the solutions on the table. And this is one of the things our politicians should be able to know. If you want to go for a particular position, you must know that position very well. Make research. And don't forget, that old document alone can change any government that pick it up. Can use it to change majority of the areas that will then the issue of CBN. That is another one. And the issue of IMF is what we are still facing in Nigeria as at to the end. Nigeria for Nigerians. He believes in the pure talent. That's why he said, I don't supposed to know those people that are going to work for me. So far they have the same belief. They have the same mind, developmental mind that I have to really change this particular country. And that is the reason why today, there is no way we want to talk about the history of democracy in Nigeria that we are not going to talk about Chief Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Olambiwoninu Abiola because of what he has put on ground for us. But we just pray that this renewed hope that we will have something synonymous. Not just is about talking, not just about document, but it talks about actions on the major issues that we need to face in Nigeria.
All right, Joseph Folorunso. You listen to Fayokpadokun and you've listened to. I had to go dig up that party. I know why that particular soundbite from the late MKO Abiola is so meaningful, because it was so short, but it captures everything that he wanted to do if he had become president. What do you think about what we've done 30 years down the line in honoring the late Chief MKO Abiola, and of course when it comes to governance?
To me, tomorrow should not be a day of celebration. It should be a day of sober reflection.
Sober reflection, okay.
The reason is that imagine that what MKO said over 30 years ago, and again, add another one, what legend Fela Anupola has said
several years ago.
that those things are still very, very relevant, very present. Only that one, every one of us should apologize to our children that no, we have made a lot of mistakes. Because, for example, if you go to NNPC, it's still the same problem. The other day, during the is it Nara repainting or Nara
redesign
or Nara
recoloration
or coloration? Imagine that they were asking one of the deputy CBN, how much do you spend?
The woman,
how much do you go spend on this project?
In producing this,
the woman could not put a figure. Only that one will show to you that there are a lot of problems. They mentioned the IMF and the World Bank. And some of these two agencies are the biggest problem of the African country. Because some of them, the people that are making decisions there, some of them are Africa or Nigeria. You understand? They will not come here. Look at what our guy was saying, that someone is not begging you, come and
just take money
take
by
money.
force.
So you have to be careful. That borrowing money should be a poisonous money. So what we're saying is that we continue to pray for the current president now. Please, we know the problem. Thank God he has worked. He's an associate of Chief MKO Abiola. They know the problem. Please, I think we should pause and say, do you know what? IMF, World Bank, some of these powerful countries. Let us look in what. If we need your help,
we'll call you.
We will call you. Because if you look at it today, the challenge that Ukraine and Russia is having, Russia and Ukraine, they have been living together. They are brothers and sisters. Some of the powerful countries, me and you are quarreling. Instead of them could come and
they help you ventilate.
They not say, oh, they are pumping something to you.
Be fighting yourself.
Be fighting yourself. So some of these countries, they are afraid. Imagine, Fuhad, if our education is okay, UK will be in trouble. America will be in trouble. Canada will be in trouble. Because many of our loved ones will come back to Nigeria and come and do their education here. If our hospitals are okay, many of our doctors that are shaping medical sector in America, UK, Canada, they will find their way down to Nigeria. It means that they will suffer. So it therefore means that I read the book, American Interest. America want to see what they can get in any country.
It's about their own interest.
You understand? So Nigeria we should have what we call Nigerian interest.
Okay,
if we don't have business, we will not benefit anything from you. There's no need of us carrying our people to go and die in any place. So let us look inward.
All right. Again, from that soundbite from the late Chief MKO Abiola, he discussed extensively the operations of the NNPC. He said he shrouded in secrecy. He talked about daily exports of crude, accountability, and that, look, there seems to be something mysterious about the oil sector. 30 years ago, Adeola Yusuf, just last week, we started, of course, analyzing the issue of the removal of fuel subsidy that has become a problem. Ordinarily, it's not supposed to be a problem. But again, when it comes to the oil sector, and like you said, Adeola Yusuf, the deeper we go into the NNPC, and the more pessimistic we become about the future of the country. But we must discuss it. It is Nigeria. It is the interest of Nigeria. And so we just have to discuss it. I'd like you to give me a rundown of what has happened in 2 weeks. What has been the reaction from stakeholders in the sector? What are Nigerians saying? We are hearing news that, look, some of our West African neighbors as countries are already feeling the heat. Let's just have an idea of what has happened so far. 2 weeks since the new president announced the removal of subsidy in his inaugural speech.
Oh, thank you very much, Fuhad. Before delving into that, I think it's let me quickly make the last remarks on the June 12 and late MKO Abiola
statement. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, so now the president is, according to the report, going to make a national broadcast tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow, yes.
Yeah. So and I know that he must have atematized a lot of things, to talk about what he will do to ensure that the memories of late MKO Abiola is still intact, is still entrenched. But I think just to challenge every one of us, I commend Mainline FM for this program, at least for making issues around June 12 the number one issue that we are talking about today. But I want to challenge every other person, including everyone, including
Hello, Adiola Yusuf. The line is breaking. Can you speak directly to the mouthpiece? Like you're using,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So I hope it's better now.
I think it's clearer now. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to challenge everyone because there are two major issues that I'm suspecting, is going to erase totally everything that we are, Abiola stood for if care is not taken. Number one, ask your 20-year-old son or daughter now, who is MKO Abiola. In fact, when Unilag was named Moshood Abiola University,
and they were protesting, I just laughed.
So that is to tell you
that they don't even know.
They do not know, and there is total blackout about information on this man that we are talking about. That is why I started by commending Mainland FM for this very laudable effort. I commend you for that.
Thank you so much.
Number one. Then number two, I had a part of the statement from question and answer session from Chivayo Padokun. That is this issue that a lot of people from the southwest maybe are guilty of, and that is turning MKO Abiola or the June 12th into a southwest or a Yoruba agenda. That thing is a great disservice to that man, is a great disservice to June 12th, and it will be a big problem that will even affect totally what the man stood for. So I think it's very, very important that I call attention to those two issues. If you love MKO Abiola, even if you do not love him, by listening to what he has, come out to do, by listening to, efforts, and at the end of the day, even though we don't have it, as a fact, but he died in, we don't have it as a fact that, he was killed, but he died in detention.
And in the struggle, his wife also died.
He died in that struggle. So, if we love him, if you should try your best, we should all try our best, to be mindful of those two things, that I've mentioned. Now let's talk about the NMPC, the big masquerade. And particularly, intertwining it with, the fuel subsidy removal by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Fact, let's start from the time that the president, that phrase, subsidy is gone. Then immediately that subsidy, that statement, subsidy is gone, is not in his speech, actually.
He had lived
it is to tell you that man, the level of his preparedness to make sure that he doesn't even want to hear anything about subsidy. So he removed subsidy, and everyone was put in the net of, pains, discouragement, lamentation and all that. What first happened immediately was that the fuel marketers shut their gates immediately, pretending that they do not have fuel. Even some of them that still have, the tankers parked in their compound, the tanker that has just discharged fuel, all of them shut their gates and, said that the fuel has failed. So that was the first reaction. And the second one, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, came up with a price template for all its filling stations across the country, over 1,000 filling stations across the country. And the price range was between 488 naira to 557 naira, depending on the location. 488 naira being that of Lagos State and its environment, and while 557 naira for as far as you are to the loading gantry in Lagos, the price keeps increasing. That was the second or third reaction. Then the next one was that all the major marketers and independent marketers followed suit immediately. They jacked up their prices and all that. Then the transporters, you won't blame them. They hiked their prices because the fuel that they were buying at about 189 naira per liter before jumped to 500 naira per liter. So they have their prices and all that. I mean, the fair. And then there is that demand. The first of all, TUC Trade Union Conference declared that statement by President as a joke taking too far. Then the NLC, Nigerian Labour Congress, came up with the decision to go on strike. Mentioning Wednesday, last Wednesday, as the day that they are commending the strike. If the president, does not go back to
Status quo.
subsidy status quo. Then the talk started, between the labor. Then we had our meeting because part of the timeline. It's part of the major event. We had our event last week. We had our program last week, focusing on that issue. And we were talking back and forth about whether we should put our faith in NLC, whether NLC, the almighty NLC, has come out to defend all Nigerians. So I remember vividly that day that I said that we shouldn't put our trust in NLC because part of the matter is that we have traveled this route before, and since 1993, that we've been on it over 30 years ago. There is no time that NLC has, made this agitation based on the common yearnings of Nigeria. But eventually, NLC, disappointed a lot of people. Even before the Wednesday, on Tuesday or Monday, NLC, they are not going on strike any longer. And now, all of us are left to our fate. People are started adjusting. In Cameroon, there was a protest about the removal of subsidy in Nigeria.
In Cameroon.
And that will tell you a lot of things, about people that are really benefiting from that subsidy. In Benin Republic, in Niger, in Cameroon, and other, neighboring countries around Nigeria, they are even feeling, according to reports, the removal of subsidy, even far more than Nigeria. Then we're having our programs today. So the president has met a lot of people. The day before yesterday, he met with the monarch across the country, to tell them that he had his mind prepared to cushion the effect of that. He has met a lot of other people. He met with the major oil marketers. Part of those, that went to talk about major oil marketers was the governor of Ogun State. People were questioning that is it on the part of the people or on the part of the marketers.
Yeah.
But he led, he's one of the leaders of that major marketers meeting with the president. So now he will be talking about marketers and as a governor who is supposed to even be on the side of the
government.
So all those things happened between that time and now. But unfortunately, the price that has remained that since that Sunday is still the price that we have today. So that's just a cap of what has happened, a few of what I could just reflect of what has happened.
Okay, all right, Adela Yusuf, before I come to you on the way forward, because basically what I allowed you to do is to just give us a recap, just a summary of what has happened in the last 2 weeks since the removal of subsidy as announced by the president in his inaugural speech. He's going to be addressing Nigerians tomorrow. And there's a lot that is being expected. Apart from the issue of June 12th, celebration of democracy, again, maybe an opportunity to reiterate his plans. I'm sure a lot of Nigerians are going to be waiting for what he will be telling us as far as cushioning the effect of the removal of subsidy is concerned. Nuruddin, somehow Nigerians seem to have accepted that, look, subsidy has to go. It's probably the most reasonable thing to do. The reactions have been clear about that. Labour is still in dialogue with the president and the government.
And they went to court too.
Of course, the government went to court. There's an interim injunction, to say that, look, all strike action should hold on until, I think, June 19, when the court starts to hear the case of the government, stopping the Labour from going on any industrial action. But Nuruddin, again, this is my question. Cushioning effect. You want to call it palliative? What is the way forward? Because, look, the reality is that Nigerians are already groaning in pain. Prices of goods and services are already jumping. And Nigerians are saying, how sustainable is this? Even though we accept that, look, it has become a problem. Do you think, let me just say, what are your expectations from the president in his speech tomorrow when it comes to addressing what he will be doing as a president to cushion the effect of subsidy removal?
Firstly, Labour has also, through their lawyer, Femi Falana, has also gone to courts to really ask the courts to quench that particular order. And another thing again is this, for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he came at the time that a lot of
issues on the table,
booby traps being set by the previous government on the issue of this. We have passed this truth before, just like the way Adiola Yusuf said. You remember during the time of what brought the issue of Shopee at that particular time. They roll out some boxes. So they gave some certain unions You remember?
Vehicles.
How many vehicles?
How do we have now? Where are even those vehicles?
I know those ones are
those Shopee trucks,
they'll be sold. So one thing there is that if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu want to really go through the same routes, I'm telling you, at the end of the day, we are going to have a situation where we are going to have palliatives that is going to end up in the hands of the few instead of the one of the other ones. Because for instance now, if he wants to talk about the issue of rolling out buses out to some certain unions, it's still going to be the same people that is trying to protect that will still be shortchanged at the end of the day. Then another one again is this: if he's looking at the other ways, like all these stipends that the previous government has planned, like 5,000 to the most vulnerable people, what is the statistics to really bring out that who are the most? In fact, now everybody is vulnerable. Everybody is vulnerable one way or the other. So what is important there is that he needs to look at this issue of the subsidy very, very well and look out for the alternative. But he's still passing through the same route of buses, of stipends. I can tell you, do you know that there are some anchor borrower programs that was done under President Muhammadu Buhari's regime, that according to the information that I have, that are even confirmed, that there are some certain people that are the helms of affairs, part of the CBN, that are even dishing out this money out to different accounts. Some of them have to call their family members to send their account details.
Come and borrow money.
Just and that is Nigerians for you. And these are the kind of money that will have cushioned the effect of a lot of people. What is important now is this: I think you should look at the way of social amenities.
Okay,
it's very, very important. Social amenities. For instance, now food has become gold in Nigeria. What are you going to do?
It will become diamond now.
Yes. In fact, what are you going to do to make sure that price
of foods
are affordable and accessible? So he has to look in the area of the agriculture. So all those reserves that we're supposed to have, all those money that's supposed to spend on agriculture, when we have the former president that happens to be an agricultural person, because rearing cow is part of the agriculture, and we know how we spend much on the issue of pyramid rice. And at the end of the day, we'll remember, history will also remember Sabo Danono, the former minister of agriculture, that's supposed to be making sure seedlings are available to people, to be making sure that money are available to the rural farmers, that he was using some certain money to build mosques for the farmers. So he should look at that particular issue.
He was building mosques.
Yeah, he was building mosques. Okay. So he needs to look at the issue of food, because Yoruba used to say, "Tí oúnjẹ bá ti kúrò nínú iṣẹ́ bùṣe." That one is one. Then another angle that he needs to take care of is that what
does that mean? What does that mean for our listeners that are not Yoruba?
Okay,
you have started.
One of the things that by the time the issue of food,
food is important. After food, nothing else.
From suffering of human
people,
being, you know that half of that particular problem has been solved. So because of that,
are you satisfied, Allah Yusuf?
So much.
Okay,
so much. I deliberately asked that question so that everybody will hear and be satisfied.
Then another angle that he needs to look at: what are the things that is making people to spend much? Is the issue of transportation. But the only problem there is that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu cannot solve the problem as at tomorrow, and he cannot even solve the problem as at this year. The issue of transportation.
To take time.
If we have a very good public transportation system, what is he going to do? Is just to make sure you lower it, and he has to call all the governors also that have the public transportation business. Although we know, like the one of Lagos, Lagos, we know that it involves private and public partnership, but there is a way they need to bring it down so that it can make sure that people could have. Look at the one of Edo State. Now, as of today, now they've introduced free internet service to the workers. If we can have all those things that, okay, look at data now is live in Nigeria. If there is a way that you can say, okay, the issue of data, whatever, should be able to even
so things like that,
so things like that can go around. Not the issue of bringing out buses. If you bring out buses, the same kalo that you are running away from in subsidy, they are the same one you are giving bus, that they are still going to swallow it the way they've been swallowing a lot of things in history.
Okay, Joseph Folonshaw, Adela should be on standby. what is the way forward? What can we do to cushion the effect?
Yeah, the way forward. Let's thank the governor of Kwara State.
Kwara State, yes.
Let's thank the governor of Edo State. Because to me, this governor was actually in that meeting when the president called the governor and said, let's discuss. And I believe that he have a conversation and said, please, when you go back to your various state, this country we must salvage it. What are you going to do? Because the president cannot do all. So what we want to beg is every governor must see how he can contribute his quota to the
helping in this situation
of the current president now. Because apart from these two governors, many other governors after that meeting they just go back and be waiting for instruction from maybe the president. It cannot be like that anymore. Let every governor sit down and say, okay, there is a new sheriff in town and he want to salvage the country at within his own capacity. But me, I'm the number one citizen of my state. Let me see what I can do. I put a call to some of my people in Edo State, and I look at it that the governor and his team is making effort to say, now just like Kwara, they have said, okay, education now should now be 3 days in a week, and they crash Thursday and Friday a timetable to be managed by to see how they can integrate what they would do Friday and Thursday to between Monday.
Just to help with movement of people, transportation costs and all of that.
If immediately there is a situation, a reasonable person will call, okay, what do we do? So we want to beg some of the governors in other states that are yet to have that meeting that the Bola Ahmed Tinubu
or make any announcement
in them. Do you know what? The president want to help. The president want to address the situation. What are you do at the state level to see how we can salvage this country?
All right. Again, we are streaming the show live. In case you are listening to us and you want to watch the show live, you can join us on Facebook at Mainland FM 98.3. You can watch it on YouTube, and that is Mainland 98.3 FM. On Facebook, it is Mainland FM 98.3. You can drop your comments there too. We're going to read it out live. And you can also drop your comments on our YouTube channel, Mainland 98.3 FM. We're streaming the show live. Abiola Yusuf, again, you actually set the agenda last week that, look, we need to talk about the way forward. We've talked about the problems. We've analyzed the issues. Here we are. Subsidy has to go, and it's gone, whether anybody likes it or not. But to you, how do we cushion the effect of this subsidy removal? Because the reality is that, look, Nigerians are in pain, whether anybody likes it or not. And we're expecting that this will come again from the speech of the president to us tomorrow. But to you, what are you expecting, and what can you suggest as the best way out for the government?
Thank you very much, Fuhad. I actually need to start by thanking you and the management of Mainland FM for approving. It was just a suggestion last week. So I thank you so much, Fuhad, for coming up with this. When Nigerians started calling last week, and a lot of them started expressing deep optimism, a lot of them started saying that they do not believe in Nigerian again, and you kept encouraging them, and this is a very good thing. Having said that, we have traveled this route before, and some governments have come up with suggested, even some of them implemented some solutions. I'll talk about those solutions that they implemented and what made them to fail, and I'll talk about what we need to do now. Number one, let's talk about that was a time that Abacha government wanted to remove subsidies. And there was this protest, people saying that even if you're a military president, we are all ready to die. So what he did that time was to, label, I think Babangida to try that, to label some commercial vehicles. He labeled some commercial vehicles and gave price disparity between the commercial vehicles and the private vehicles. So what the commercial vehicles will do is to drive into a filling station, buy at the rate for commercial vehicles. And, the private cars, the big people, like all of you that are in the studio, if you are going into the filling station to buy, you are buying at a rate different, because to the understanding of that government then, the commercial vehicles, should buy at a rate that is lower, so that it won't affect the transport fare. But that thing failed. And the way it failed was that you trust Nigerians. A lot of us now, now started buying. If you have like 4-5 cars, you go and buy one commercial vehicle, and go into the filling station, buy at that rate in vehicles, and come out. That was what even led to commencement of black market then. Then you now offload all of them into jerry can and put into your private vehicles. So Nigeria was changing that time, and it led to the collapse of that plan. There was another plan of giving money to people. There was a plan of buying buses, mass transit, or what did they call them? Some of them are still flying Oshodi and all that in Lagos. So that one too failed of one fact. The fact of lack of patriotism and corruption, that has even come from the level. It's not among the leadership alone that have even dovetailed into the followership. So that one failed, and a lot of others won't fail. So, but in a bit not to bother us, the solutions that we are profiling this evening, they are in two categories. Number one, the solutions from the government. Number two, the solution that we believe that Nigerians or the rules are supposed, to prefer. And I believe, the two working pari too is going to, whether we like it or not, the unemployment rate in Nigeria is, has reached the ceiling. People are, a lot of people do not have jobs. And those that are even having jobs, they are not properly employed. Ask them how much do they collect at the end of the day. So this employment that we are providing as solution to government is not only, civil service employment alone. Government should encourage people in the SME business. And the way they will encourage them is not to start dishing out money to them alone. It's not to do that alone. It's to encourage them, in terms of, electricity, in terms of so many other infrastructure. Government should try to encourage them. Those are the people that will create jobs. You remember what part of the, thing of the Naira confiscation policy by, Emefiele was that it killed a lot of businesses, a lot of SMEs. I think they offended, former CBN governor. Remember that time POS was booming until that time. Then when that time happened, we have a few of them that are making money. But now, we could see a serious collapse of that, small scale, business venture. So government should try its best to encourage. That's the word. Government should make sure that there is an intervention or support for gas. And I'll make an example. Up to now that we are talking about, a lot of people do not know that, there are cars that are running in Nigeria on gas. How much is gas now? Part of the advantage we have now is that the gas sector has been deregulated. Now, up to this that I'm talking to you about, gas that was sold over 1,000 naira per kg, few months ago, is now around 500 naira per kg. People can call and confirm this. So there should be that alternative. People are using gas to power their vehicles, but it's not because as we speak now, I know in Itco PLC, it's a gas arm, which is gas, has converted over 8,000 vehicles in Nigeria into gas usage. So when you see on Lagos Ibadan Expressway, people should know that aside from the petrol, they can power their vehicles, they can drive their vehicles with gas. So the major that's one, because I understand that sector is that the amount for gas is not too much, but the amount for conversion, the money you need to convert your engine into a gas use is more. So government should intervene in that. If that is done, I believe it's going to go a long way. Hello?
Well, with you, Abiola Yusuf.
Okay, so it's going to go a long way in pushing the effect. Fact on the ground is that subsidy has been removed. The labor has tried its work. Everyone has, and just like I said last week, it's important now that the government should focus on the right thing. Then, that there is no way we'll talk about without talking about food. Government should intervene. There are some food, the borders have been opened by the former government. former President Muhammadu Buhari. But it became more popular a few days ago, and you could see the way people became so joyous to know that border has been opened. And the simple reason for that is economy, and small scale economy, and food. So I understand that those borders were closed to encourage rice farming and all that. But they could look at that thing very well, review what have been the gains, and if the need be to encourage importation of some items, particularly food items, government should do that. If that is done, it will go a long way. Because we are where we are now, the right thing to do is to now look forward, to before thinking and before looking. So then the next one that I think the government should do is that, I've been hearing that the federal government is going to toe the line of the current state governor by removing Friday, so that it is going to be 4 working days. But it is going to be tentative. There's nothing wrong if government if the government does that, there's nothing wrong. So that the number of days, the workers will work, at least until we start having, the subsidy removal, costing itself naturally, the government should make sure that it does that. One part that I needed to even add about the update on this is that, Nigerians have reduced purchase of PMS, premium motor spirit. From reports we read, filling stations in Lagos don't sell they were selling before. What this has told us is that people are already finding alternatives. People are already working on their consumption level and all that. But the way I want Nigerians to just because I've said the solution should be in 2 categories. Aside from the ones that I've said government should do, we Nigerians too, we should change our orientation. Number one, if anyone is in government, there is this general alignment or identification with corrupt people. We regard people that are corrupt better than people that are still struggling, that they have not made money. So there is that orientation. If someone is appointed the special advisor, people will start calling and congratulating that person. So what then people will start sending messages. If it's my wife now, for instance, I don't do that, but I just want to use that as an example for Nigerians to understand. They will just send a text to you. If my wife gives birth, I'll send a text to my friend that is the special advisor. He has just been appointed and say, okay, I congratulate you. Your wife has just given birth. It's not his wife. No. And what that is saying is that we want them to just go there and amass wealth. We should work on that. Then number 2, we should work on our, wastages. We should work on our wastage. If it's not important, please, drop it. So until we see, natural realignment that will happen. If all this should be on the table, and we all trust, in God, because there's no way we'll talk about this without. We all trust in God by praying for, this present government, because it be also not to pray for the government to succeed. I think everyone is going to be better.
All right. Abiola Yusuf, because I can see that messages are already dropping on our Facebook page, also on YouTube. Again, we are live on Facebook at Mainland FM 98.3. And we're also on YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. You can join the show live and drop your comments. I'm going to open the phone lines very, very soon. Again, I'm getting some personal requests that I should play that audio from the late Chief MKO Abiola. I'm going to do that before I open the phone lines. Again, tomorrow is June 12th, 30 years since the annulment of what is considered the fairest and the best election ever in the country. And here we are, 30 years down the line, tomorrow with June 12th celebration anniversary. And we're taking a reflection generally of what has happened in terms of governance and democratic experiment in Nigeria. So I'm going to play that audio before I open the phone line. It's a campaign audio of the late Chief MKO Abiola in the year 1993, of course, telling Nigerians at that time what he was going to do if he becomes president. The funny thing is that we listen to that audio and it's so relevant to what we are talking about today. So let's listen again to that audio, and then I open the phone lines for you to be a part of the show. Basically, again, what are your own reflections? How do you think we can best honor the memories of the late MKO Abiola in terms of governance? Although Adiola Yusuf brought up the idea of renaming Unilag, for example, and the students protested, the fact that, look, our 20-year-olds today, the so-called Gen Zs, don't even have a connection to what Abiola stood for when it comes to democratic experiments. Reason a lot of them protested when their school were named after the late MKO. But for some of us that know, for example, Joseph Olorunso, a lot of people didn't know that, look, this was a philanthropist par excellence. He was also a businessman like no other. Again, I have a long list of his businesses. Abiola Farms, Abiola Bookshop, Abiola Babes, the football club then. Yes. You know, in one of his audio, I think we'll try and play all of that tomorrow here on Mainland FM, where he said that, look, there was a time when his football team was to play in a part of Africa, I think in Tanzania, that he drove the bus himself. That was the kind of person the late Chief MKO Abiola was. To pick them up. Chartered flight, at a stage he drove the bus himself just to ensure his team played. He also had Wonder Bakeries, where he produces bread and all of that. Then Radio Communications Nigeria. He was also the owner of Concord Press, the defunct newspaper. He also owned Concord Airlines and Abi Bank. A lot of companies like that, you know, a lot of people don't even know about. Just follow show.
Yeah, I think if I take you back to the one of Unilag, if you want to do anything, no matter how noble that thing, the process of you doing it
must be proper.
Very key. If you look at what actually, because I'm a product of University of Lagos, that very period that they named Unilag after Abiola, that very time, one of the best vice chancellor of University of Lagos, Professor Babari Shofoluwe, yes. The corpse was still in mortuary. Yes.
At that time.
That very time. Just like someone is mourning,
and then you are doing this.
You are coming out to consultation, and the student have to say, do you know what? This is a man that have succeeded in digitalizing this school, and we are saying, oh, we need this man more than ever, and just for us to now hear that, oh, a name has been so.
So you thought the process was not properly done.
The process was not properly done. So that is an example of when you are dealing with people, you have to be careful and be careful of the apostle that no matter how noble that thing is, if the process is wrong, then the response or the reaction will be the one that you may not be able to withstand.
Okay, yes. I'm eager to open the phone lines, but again, let's listen to that particular campaign audio from the late Chief MKO Abiola, of course, in the campaign trail. In the year 1999. Again, we are live on Facebook, Mainland FM 98.3, and on YouTube, Mainland 98.3 FM. You can drop your comments there. We will take them live on the show. Let's listen to that audio again from the late Chief MKO Abiola.
As president, it's none of my business what religious color anybody wears. In ITT, in Concord, in RCN, in Summit Oil, in the bakeries, in the bookshop, in the presses, and so we employ people purely on merit, round pegs in round holes, period. There are so many people who work for me whose hometown I don't even know. I don't even know them anyway. I don't have to know them, because we want to be objective. If I could do that in my own small business, I think Nigeria has every reason to expect from me a clear vision when it comes to the management of the affairs of the country as a whole. Quite obviously, we need to earn more foreign exchange. We shall therefore put in place policies that will broaden the foreign exchange earning capacity of the nation. We will pursue exports and local sourcing for industry. We shall aggressively pursue the implementation of the LNG project if the logjam on the gas project has not already been broken by this administration, by this current one. We shall maximize the nation's return from oil by turning over future investment to the private sector and by removing the complex structures which makes NMPC's accountability and assessment of efficiency almost impossible. You see, there are so many layers upon layers built on this simple thing, crude oil. You don't even know whether it's oil or some mystery around it that is taking the money from the central bank. You see, I think we would demystify all these things. In my government, the daily export of crude will be published and the price at which it is sold. You see, the issue of planned implementation is simple. You see, public things are not private. We have National Assembly now. They will do their job. They review the expenditure of government and we hold public hearing. We will no longer be hearing of monetary circulars from central bank without the bankers being told. The bankers will have to be involved. You see, like I said, every effort has been made in the past to shave people's head in their absence. It must stop. I mean, it won't be allowed. I mean, the cumulative wisdom of all the bankers would have seen us out of the problem we have in this country today. But some people, they come from IMF or they come from World Bank. What do they know about Nigeria? You see, the most brilliant doctor in Norway might not have seen malaria in his life. So bringing him here and imposing him as a medical director is like sending everybody to the grave. You see, I think all that nonsense will stop. I rely on Nigerians to keep Nigeria running efficiently, and that's what it is. You see, there will be a few foreigners who will be recommended by our people, not those who will be imposed by some foreign authorities over us. We are an independent republic under God, or aren't we?
We are an independent nation under God, aren't we? Well, I'm so excited because, again, if you understand what it takes to have that kind of rhetorical prowess, again, like Nuruddin said, if there are leaders that could really talk to the people, talk to the issues with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, I think you have to give it to the late Chief MKO Abiola. That's why the father is stutters. A lot of people don't know that he's a stammerer.
He knows how to control it so well.
So
in fact, there is one of his this thing that always go in my. He said, if you are to drink from a well, you shouldn't urinate
in it. You know, with a lot of wisdom and all of that. Again, it's brilliant orator. I must say, the late Chief MKO Abiola. Again, it's Political Roundtable on Mainland 98.3 FM. We have Adiola Yusuf on the phone line with us. We have Nuruddin Adigbero here in the studio, and Joseph Foronshaw here with us in the studio. We started by speaking with Chief Ayo Okpadokun, of course, asking him about his reflections on the annulment of June 12, and of course, what we can do to honor the memories of the late Chief MKO Abiola. Also, we also asked him to set an agenda for the new president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And basically, all he said was that, look, we need to return to true federalism. And we've also been discussing the issues surrounding subsidy removal. Adiola Yusuf, our energy expert, has been giving us a robust idea of what the government needs to do going forward. Now, the phone line is open, 091 36 000 410, 091 36 000 410. First, tomorrow is June 12, 30 years after the annulment. What do you think we should do to properly honor the memories of the late Chief MKO Abiola in terms of governance? And then the issue of subsidy removal. The president will be speaking to Nigerians tomorrow. What are you expecting from him on how to cushion the effects of subsidy removal, since we have all accepted that subsidy must go, and it has gone? So those are the two issues. 2 minutes, just 2 minutes. Let's go straight to the point. 091 36 000 410. Hello, good evening. Hello. Hello, good evening. Okay, I don't think he's ready to talk to us. 091 36 000 410. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah. Yes, Austin by name.
Austin, yes.
You guys are doing a great job. Yes, Austin.
Where are you calling from, Austin?
Yes, I'm calling from Ojo.
Okay, Ojo. Thank you so much, Austin. Please go on.
Yes. You know, there is a song that says, "For to go to go easy." So nobody can be like MKO.
MKO.
Yes, nobody. No matter how person is. So he tells you that education is not just the basic aspect of government, not just going to school per se. So you must be able to understand the people or what the people need and what they want to be able to assess them. So that is about that. Then too, what the government should do, look. To me, either subsidy or no subsidy. I know if MKO is to be alive today, one of the things that he is saying that from his own government, from his own party, for we to also to sacrifice to this subsidy issue. I am also all our salary to be cut down. No more expenses for the house, no more house allowance, no more wardrobe. All those things should be cut down. As the people is feeling the pain, let government also share their body. You know, the president say he has come to serve. So let the service be from cutting down of the government. Then two, if the government can also undo Agboro in Lagos State, I think it will cushion the high price
of transportation.
Traffic. Yes, let them also look into it. No matter what, let them just pick these guys off. Let them just channel a means where these guys will be paying, at least pay in a park, in a walk, in a ride. I think it will also go fine. Thank you very much. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you so much, Austin. 091 36 410. 091 36 410. Hello, good evening. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, your name, where are you calling from?
My name is IK. I'm calling from Uganda.
Okay, please go on, IK.
Okay. You people are doing a very nice job by bringing this type of topic on air.
Thank you.
So, thank you, people. There's a question you are saying, what are we expecting? What our president is going to say tomorrow about the subsidy or what. And all of us, we listen on what MKO Abiola, his speech now. He said that a blessed country under God, you see. He remembered that, all of us, we know that this country is blessed. No president of this Nigeria, if you reason well, you know that this country is blessed. Any president, anybody that listens to this Abiola speech, it will touch you if you're a Nigerian. It will touch you that he knows exactly the impact of Nigeria, what to do about Nigeria. Not that the former rulers, the presidents, they doesn't know about this country. They know that they don't want to implement good in this country. So I'm expecting Mr. President Bola Tinubu tomorrow, because he has 20-something advisors.
20
For now.
He has advisors, and these advisors is for the good of this country. They are not advising anything against them. A way out for this country, because this country has been in a race that is terrible now. So I'm expecting him, number one, he talk about the bringing down of the way of bringing down the fuel price, the transportation, the food aspects, the life of this country, education. Yeah, he has many things to do, because he said that he's coming to work. Let him do it.
All right.
Give us a good speech tomorrow. We are expecting him
a very good speech. All right.
Thank you
so much, Ike. He's expecting a good speech. I like that optimism. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. This is another promotion.
Emeka, please, you need to speak directly to the phone. You're sounding very far.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I think it's better, but you need to speak up.
Okay. Please, I want to ask...
you are still sounding far, Emeka.
Why... Can you hear me now?
Yes. I think we can manage it, yes.
Okay. Jonathan, I want to remove this subsidy and the Tinubu again. Why Tinubu doing? Why Tinubu come back as a president and he remove the subsidy? Has nobody asking why?
Okay. Is that your question, Emeka?
Yeah, that's my question.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
I assume that is a rhetorical question, because I think we've moved past that stage as far as this roundtable is concerned. But let's take some messages on Facebook. Thank you so much, Emeka. I understand where you're going with your question, but again, I think what we are looking for now is the solution. We need to move for subsidy has to go, and it has gone. We have.
My brother, when you are going wrong, you don't look for solution. We are going wrong with it, and we are looking for solution.
Okay, you think?
How can it be done?
Okay, you think it's wrong that we are removing subsidy? That's what you think, Emeka?
No, it's not wrong. They're asking why. Jonathan want to do it, and Tinubu again. Why Tinubu is doing it now?
Okay. We've noted that, but again, I'm not in government, so I can't really answer that.
We are not Tinubu.
We are not Tinubu.
When he said no to something,
We are deceiving ourselves.
Oh, okay.
You people should tell the people the truth.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Emeka. Like I said, I understand where it's coming from. But let's take these messages from Facebook.
Hello.
Okay. Hello. Good evening.
Good evening, my lovely brother in the air.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Almighty God will bless you. Let me greet your guest and then Mr. Your Padoko.
Yes.
In fact, I will always say you this thing.
Your name,
my
sir.
name is Jide from Akonwajo.
Jide from Akonwajo. Okay.
Tunde from Akonwajo.
Okay.
Thank God I have opportunity to work with MKO Abiola. And anytime they are talking of Baba, nobody can be like MKO Abiola. In fact, work with him, I move with him. Thank God I work in Nigerian tribunal that time. We know a lot of things that is going on. And they are just wanted to keep the government that anybody that work with this man should learn good things from MKO Abiola. Because MKO Abiola let anybody lack anything. If you remember what happened in June 12, MKO Abiola will speak and we stand on his word. In fact, like one of my brother that is speaking about talking about MKO Abiola, when he's talking, he'll be happy, everything will be okay. You will see unity in MKO Abiola. Not all these politicians we have this time around, they are deceiving us. See, about 12 or 13 years ago, that all of us we supposed to be enjoying now. When they are talking to remove subsidy, they don't allow to do that thing. They convince us, they deceive us. But I know that one day everybody we have good government that will unite us. The reason why I'm pressed about this present government is that we are not happy with them because they didn't show a lot. People don't believe in them. That's why you see people reacting with them. But my own is that good from MKO Abiola and make us happy. See, you take the election of MKO Abiola, immediately we vote after we are receiving the results.
Yes.
These are cheap. Everything are happy. See, the way people are happy. But that is not happening now. But I know that one day Nigeria will get there. And the last question my brother asked is true. Why Tinubu refused that time? For now, removing subsidy and then their time that they said that people should support them. My own is that just want to do what he wanted to do. And then tomorrow, people are waiting for his speech and they should give us good speech. If you like, say good things. If you like, don't say good things. We are watching him. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Tunde from Akon. So very passionate when he calls into the show. Let's take messages from Facebook. Like I said, we're on Facebook, Mainland FM 98.3, YouTube, Mainland 98.3 FM. You can drop your messages and we'll read it live on radio. We have Unwudu Austin who is saying now, wow, any chosen by the APC and supported by the president can never be their choice. They always settle for the dissident. The reason for their choice is not performance or qualification, just mere opposition. Tell me the reason the opposition are giving for supporting Yari Kalu ticket and 18 Akpabio ticket. Must we play opposition politics with everything? Well, if Tinubu succeeds, it will be our own benefit. Should Yari Kalu choose to be like Saraki and frustrate the government, Nigerians will suffer it. The handwriting is already on the wall. Yari Kalu are coming with vengeance, working against the party and Mr. President. Time shall tell. Well, we have Ogbomode Victor who is saying, which way Naija? Enjoying the program. Love Oga Fuhad. Fire down. Watching you live from Ojodubega. Thank you so much, Ogbomode Victor. We also have Olabi Amos saying kudos to you all for the good job you are doing. Thank you so much, Amos. We have Shepherd Unwise who is saying the quality of your discussion every Sunday is educating. Thank you so much. We have Temple the Prince who is saying, Mr. Fuad, my name is Temple from Arepo. You are doing a good job. I'm an addicted listener of your program. And then we have Kayode Olono Day who is saying, my dear good friends, I did listen to lawyer Ayo Padokun, a worthy gentleman without any chieftaincy title. The Nadeko agenda was clearly stated and so explicit. In summary, for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to convoke a sovereign national conference fast again to de-annul the victory of Chief MKO Abiola. More importantly, the need to put national structure in place to discuss true federalism, where I also believe on resource control. I must commend Nuruddin and Adiola and the rest for their opinions about what we now need as a nation to move forward. Like me, let's have Vision 2050, and that in the next 27 years, we must not sell petrol beyond 200 naira. to honor MKO Abiola. Well, Vision 2050, that's a good one. Thank you so much, Kaude Olonode. And then we have Basil Chika, who is saying Nigerians wake up. They are looking for a way to cushion the effect of subsidy removal, and they channel it to the poor masses, cutting number of the days for school and likes, as if their children are there that will stand. Why can't they stop the humongous amount they are collecting? Chika Bender from Trade Fair, Lagos. Thank you so much for that message. And of course, on YouTube, we have nice props in your studio from Olalekan Isaac. Again, 091 36 000 410. Hello, good evening.
Very beautiful you, my family in the studio.
Good evening, Prince Wise.
May God bless all of you. Happy June 12th in advance.
Happy June 12th to you too, sir.
Fuhad.
Yes, sir.
30 years like yesterday.
You
know what we saw in Ujoelegba, we protest, we do everything. At the end of the day, that Goguma just say, Otito, everybody go back home. You see, every June 12th is a bad day for two personalities in this country. The one who are not the election, and the one who benefit the annulment of the election for complete 8 years. You start to remember Abiola. Two personalities. The IBB, the OBJ, two of them. And what they have done, they can never do it. They can, if it's something you do that you can't come around to right the wrong. Perpetually it will remain. But look at MKO now. He never occupied so rock. But every June 12 is for MKO. The eternity come. If democracy exists in this country, every June 12, public holiday for somebody who died for his whole country. In fact, I say kudos to MKO Abiola in his grave. Look at it. And I must say kudos to President Tinubu. Every June 12 is only one man stand. He observes it until Southwest observes it. And when the president is past government come on board, he pressurized the last president to declare June 12. National Stadium being built by OBJ was named after Abiola. And that was better than the real relax. Because some of us who complained then, once you be part of Yoruba, you name Abiola, it's a national figure. Take it to Abuja, and at the end of the day, you name national team of Abuja after MKO. That is very fantastic decision taken by Buhari government.
All right, Prince Wise.
Let me round up. You see Kola Abiola, if I were him, I will remain with Tinubu. Maybe he will be a senator by now, or that by now, but he's done the wrong party.
So what's the way forward now, Prince Wise?
The way forward now, the man said, he said, renewal hope. It means majority of the things Abiola want to do is in the manifesto of 3% government. And I want Mr. President want to broadcast to the nation tomorrow. He can reduce 5 days, 5-day working day to be 4 days. Remove Friday, Saturday, and that's all other work we're enjoying. But one thing I know, what? Is it not good to have transportation for workers, artisans, medicine, and subsidize the price? Finally, agriculture, please give me just a second.
Okay. Thank you to Prince Wise. Agriculture too should be subsidized. Transportation. I think you've been able to make your point. I think we'll be open to hear from the president tomorrow. Hello, good evening. Hello. Hello, good evening. Yes, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Abubakar.
Abubakar, you need to speak up.
Hello?
Hello, we're with you, Abubakar. Hello? Yes, hello.
Okay, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Abubakar. Yes.
Yeah. I want to comment on the issue.
Where are you calling from, Abubakar?
I'm calling from Papa.
Okay, please go on.
Yeah, on this issue about June 12th. First, I want to commend the president, former President Buhari for recognizing that June 12th and bringing that, at least relieving people of the pains of that memory. At least I want to commend for the current president. I think since the most of this manifesto is on the same, almost the same policy that Abiola wants to implement. So so he can renew that hope, and he can actually follow most of what he recommends, which is not necessarily the open up on the corruption, the NNPC and other related aspects of the economy. If the current president can, at least I'm sure that there's a connection between their manifesto and that of the MKO. So with that, at least something that will benefit Nigerians as a whole in general. So we go ahead this country.
Amen.
Looking forward to
the speech tomorrow.
Right.
Okay. Thank you so much, Abakar. All right, 09136000410. You can also drop your comments on our Facebook platform, Mainland FM 98.3. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, my name is Emmanuel. I'm calling from Songwater.
Please go on, Emmanuel.
Yeah, I want to make a comment on the soundbite you played from MKO.
All right, sir.
One of the first statements I made was that he mentioned some of his company and he employ people on merit and not based on their ethnic background. Yes. And when you look at the current president, he's one of the ardent followers of MKO Abiola.
Yes.
In Lagos State now, which the current president make his footprint, politically speaking, you see the division between one ethnic group and the other, mostly between the Yoruba and the Igbos. It's the lesson that even just 2 weeks ago, last week, the Speaker of the House said that they are going to protect the indigenous. So you can see that that's a total division from the thinking of Abiola. So maybe, of course. And the second one is that when we talk about the group, he said he's going to make it public. Publish it, the amount of food being exported. In fact, so these are some of the things I expect the current president to do as an ardent follower of MKO. Understand? So, thank God, is a president to do, as you said, one of the ways to remember him is to do some of the things Abiola will have loved to do. He will have become the president of Nigeria. That's one way to remember him. And another thing is people are talking about giving the last president the glory that he was doing that he started the democracy to June 12th. As of today, even one of the sons of Abiola, he granted an interview in Fangai that even though that date was chosen by the last president, but some of the entitlement, even most of the entitlement, has not been given to them. So it was not recognized. So one way or the other, that thing was done for political reasons. So I think maybe the current president will look at that and try to implement and give whatever benefit that will do to the family.
All right. Thank you so much, Emmanuel from Songwater. Well put. Thank you so much for that contribution. 09136000410. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Yes.
Yeah, Babaji, calling from Adagri area.
How are you doing, Babaji?
We thank God, sir. MKO Abiola, honestly, there's no comparison, if you ask me. And tomorrow, the expectation of Mr. President's speech, people should not expect Mr. President to still dwell on the subsidy. The subsidy has gone forever, honestly. I'm telling you the truth. And I'm expecting the president, when he said something about electricity, thank God, I think he has signed, was it the former president that signed the bill that states now can operate? Yeah.
They can generate, transmit, and distribute.
Definitely. I think he said something during his campaign that everybody must be metered. That without meter, you don't have to pay for the estimated billing. I think he said it. He should start from there to cushion the effect. But if it as it thinking that probably they are going to remove from the pump price, I don't think so for now. Unless the market will force the price down. I'm telling you the truth. And something again I want to say here, Lagos State government. I think I remember vividly when they implemented this policy, 800 naira per vehicle, commercial vehicle. You know, you pay. And the park management said then that their money will not be affected, they will still be collecting their money. And if you put it side by side, if they can be the park management chairman, if he can be able to cut his own levy, probably maybe a vehicle that is carrying from a Surulere, for example, Joel back to Lagos Island, each bus will pay 2.5, for example. If it's okay now, you can be paying 1,000 or 1.5. At the end of the day, the drivers will now use that opportunity not to inflate their prices. That is another angle I'm looking at it. And the governor will be the one that will call the roundtable. I'm just suggesting, sir, if you call those chairmen and say, come, let's do it this way, because most of the states now, they've started palliating. You don't expect the president to be telling the 36 states what to do. There are some now they've increased. Yeah, I'm telling you the truth. If you don't do it that way, gradually, people cannot be able to fit in the system. But be as it may, I will pray for Mr. President to do well. But there's no comparison. We have only one Abiola.
And can only
we have
one
only
Abiola.
one Tinubu. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Baba G from Badagry. I agree. We have only one Abiola. The way we have only one Chief Obafemi Awolowo. Hello, good evening.
Nobody can do it. Can be like you.
Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
This is Joseph from Lekki.
Sorry.
This is Joseph from Lekki.
Okay, Joseph, please go on.
Yeah, I greet you all in the studio.
We greet you too.
Yeah, I want to talk about the president as far as the subsidy review.
Okay.
Yeah, was it not the same president today, President Tinubu, and Wole Soyinka, Tunde Bakari, Showore, and many others? Were they not the same people that blocked the whole part of this country because of Jonathan wanted to remove subsidy in 2012? Am I wrong?
Yeah,
How come today, Tinubu was handed over to? Immediately, it was not even up to 30 minutes. Instantly, he announced subsidy removed. He removed the subsidy of what today. Where is Wole Soyinka, Tunde Bakari, Showore, and many others who protested against Jonathan? This is what they use in hijacking power from Jonathan. They rubbish Jonathan government, and today he is in power today. Where is Wole Soyinka and others? Is it because they are the same brothers? They don't talk? That is the question I want to ask.
Okay, Joseph.
Why are Nigeria not asking Tinubu about that thing? They say the subsidy is a scam, was a scam. Why today he removed the subsidy?
All right.
This is what Nigeria is.
Okay, thank you, Joseph.
Let him tell us.
Okay.
Let Tinubu tell Nigeria
Maybe we
why
address.
he refused Jonathan.
Maybe we'll address that in his speech tomorrow, the June 12th speech. You know, again, we are not his speech writers. I'm not his special advisor to him.
You
Yes.
have to move on.
But I think we need to move on.
But
Really.
we know there is no way he's going to talk about that speech tomorrow. That issue of subsidy will not be there. I don't want to see. I don't want to know the person that is going to write that speech for him.
But I think he, again, just thank you so much, Joseph from Lekki. But I think he had always said this, even right during his campaign. Speeches that look. I think there was even a particular where he said that look, if you protest from now till tomorrow, I'm removing subsidy.
People are expecting him
to
say sorry for what he did that is what people are saying, that if you against it's just simple say sorry, I didn't have the full information or the corruption at that particular time will not allow me to support subsidy at that particular time, but now that I'm in charge, I really want to make that change, and that is the thing, that is what people want to hear.
Like I said, again, we can't speak for the president. Maybe we'll address that particular issue in his June 12th speech tomorrow. He's going to address the nation tomorrow, and will be, of course, reporting that too, and of course giving the reports as it happens. 091-36000410. We have more messages dropping on our Facebook platform. We have Shepherd Nwaize saying, until our politicians adjust their humongous lifestyle, Nigerians wouldn't take them serious on the issue of subsidy. Our leaders need to show us that they are here to serve us by living a life of sacrifices. Thank you so much, Shepherd. We also have Kawade Olonade saying, I must say that you have not been strictly adhering to 2 minutes per call. Well, we will try to. Again, I really don't like cutting people in the middle of their calls. 091 36 000 410. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. You need to speak up, sir.
Yes, I'm calling from Igbesa in Ogun State.
I can hardly hear you, sir. You need to really, really speak up.
Speak louder.
Yes, I am calling from Igbesa in Ogun State.
Igbesa, yes, from Igbesa. What's your name, sir?
I am Brother Ifeanyi.
Ifeanyi. Okay, please go on, Ifeanyi.
Yes, actually, as I listen to the audio clip of
MKO Abiola.
Yes, in fact, I can say that what he said is what we are facing today. So supposing he was allowed to rule, and maybe he did half of those things that he included in his speech, I don't think if Nigeria would be where it is today. Hello?
Well, too, Ifeanyi.
Yes. So my take on that is that it's like a Tinubu coin is
renewed hope.
What right? Yes, about this renew hope because
Abiola was hope 93.
Yes. So I think that Tinubu should look into that speech and do according. I believe that Nigeria will be better off. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. That's very optimistic from Ifeanyi from Igbesa in Augusta. I think we can take 1 or 2 more calls and then allow our analysts to round up on the show. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
This is Kayode from Abeokuta.
Oh, Kayode.
Yes, I was the one that asked you to please always give us that 2 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, 2 minutes.
I greet the guests in the house. They have done wonderfully well. But the area I wanted to pick was the issue of MKO Abiola. I nearly wept when he was talking about it. And that was about the issue. Let me put it this way. You see, when you have people with their potential being limitless and cannot be measured by the opinions of others, I was talking about the issue of Norway. The doctors in Norway that probably couldn't feel the effect of malaria here in Nigeria, you are putting them in office. I mean, as the head of any sector here. I think it will go well if Tinubu will look vividly well in terms of people who he will put in position of authority for us, as in terms of ministers, this and that. You see, MK Abiola was talking about job on merit. When you talk about job on merit, what are you talking about? Talking about trust, people you could be able to see reason why they must be there. Not just anybody, like what education minister calls for us and the issue of this man Ngige of a whole lot of people that are supposed not to be in office. 8 months education about our university were put on hold. What for? That's unnecessary. And I want Tinubu, when he speaks tomorrow, he should look into the issue of 200 naira per litre, as I've stated, for Vision 2050 for us. So that we'll be able to still reason. We don't want buses, we don't want just put that, peg it to 200 naira per litre, and we'll go for that. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Kwai. That will be the last call for this evening. Adiola, is we still with us on the line? 1 minute, please. Just have your final take this evening.
Okay. Tomorrow or any other time that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has the opportunity, he should apologize to Nigerians about the role he played during that subsidy removal. That's number one. Then number two, he should announce, I forgot to mention this as part of the solutions because I listed that as part of it as well. They should cut down on expenses, by government functionaries and officials. He needs to let the subsidy removal from,
Oh, I think we lost that call there. But I think he has captured his thoughts well. I think what he was trying to say basically was that, look, the government also needs to show example by cutting down the cost of governance. Because again, if you say Nigerians should tighten their belts and sacrifice at this period, they must see clear examples from government that really the government has also been, cutting down cost of governance and showing serious example. Nuruddin, what is your final take on the show this evening?
Well, my own is just that every politician living, they should emulate the virtues of Chief MKO Abiola in time on education, on sports, on economy, on culture, on the unity, on peace and diversity that he brings to fore as his own personality. Every politician in Nigeria living should try to emulate that virtues.
Okay, emulate the virtues of the late Chief MK Abiola when it comes to business, sports, unity, diversity, competence too. One would say that were the qualities we always knew Chief MK Abiola for. Joseph Folonsho, your final take this evening.
Yeah, my final take. I want to see maybe in the speech tomorrow, the president should beg the governors to stay in their states and leave Abuja alone.
Instead of staying, they should sit down and work in their state.
They have houses in Abuja.
No, they should leave those houses. This is
They should let them out. They should let them out.
They can make money from it.
Yeah, can make a lot.
But stay in their states and work.
Stay in your state because the issue of electricity now, there's no complaint.
Yeah, you can generate now
and
sit and distribute.
Stay in your state. You should be
Looking
part of looking what. Then secondly, the second one is a please. Anybody that is coming to say you want to pray for the president, tell the person to pray for himself and let him go and do.
So the religious leaders should stay away from Aso Villa.
They should stay away from Aso Villa.
Stay in their churches and pray.
Stay in your church. Possibly convert the church to a factory, not only a place that. Then on Monday to Friday should not be a day for prayer. It should be a day people will be in their
Nigerians now be beginning to
Nigeria,
work.
yeah, we need to work and join hands with the current president who is saying that we have an issue and he said we should not pity him because he asked for the job. Let us join hands and see how we serve in Nigeria. I want to remain in Nigeria. I don't want to go and collect any, except I want to maybe just go for holiday. But I want to be here.
Right there, you say let's join hands together with the president to make Nigeria great again. I like Joseph Folonsho's, the idea of telling the governors to sit back in their states and work.
You leave your state in gladness. You now come to Abuja to come and.
I served in a state where practically for 1 year the governor was never in that state. He was always in Abuja. Even local government chairman.
Ondo governor has not been in this. He's not in the state for 6 months now.
We are hopeful. We are going to be listening to the president's speech tomorrow. Marking the June 12th memorial. It's also a major party to what happened that time. He was in the trenches, like Chief Ayopadokun said, and now that he's president, we'll be waiting to see what he's going to be doing in terms of governance to really honor the memory of the late Chief MK Abiola. Well, that's a total package for this evening political roundtable on 98.3 FM. We had Adiola Yusuf joining over the phone line. Nuruddin Adigbenu, thank you so much for being with us in the studio. And there's Joseph Folonsho also for joining us in the studio this evening. Well, we hope that again Nigeria will be great. We are praying for the country. We are praying for the president. And praying that, yes, Nigeria will take its rightful place in the Committee of Nations. This is where we call it a day political roundtable, mainland 98.3 FM. Do have a blessed week ahead.